Hi everyone, it's Deb back again with another layout process video for you. I made an 8.5 by 11 scrapbook layout. Now it didn't start out that way. I was going to make a 12 by 12, but things changed. So I did start with that grid paper, and you can see it here, and I wasn't really fond of the sayings down the side, and I thought I could cover that bit up and build a layout on top of it. So I grabbed some other pattern paper from the main kit and started building some layers up on to cover that side. And then the camera didn't record it for some reason. I don't know if it ran out of memory or battery, but I did grab the stencil from the main kit and some black ink from my stash and did some background work. Now this last layer I'm putting on top is actually a piece of the packaging, and it had a nice grid design on it, so I did use that as my top layer. And what am I going to, I cut it into a banner. Sorry, a bit lost for words then. Cut it into a banner for my top layer. Now you see I've got all the background done, and I kind of went a bit overboard with the stenciling. So I thought I would cut it down to 8.5 by 11, and there was just a bit too much green happening for me, so I did cut off the top bit, and I do cut off the bottom branding strip as well, and I will bring that back into the layout to use as one of my layers. So you can see the grid paper in the background has got that awesome stencil that we got in the main kit, and I just used my what was it, Memento ink and one of those Tim Holtz sponge things. What I got in my hand now, whatever they're called, applicator, that's it. And that's how I applied my stencil, and I did go around all the edges of all the papers just so that they blended in a bit better, didn't look so stark. And I will start building my layers. Now you could easily keep this 12 by 12 and just cover that bit up on the side if you weren't fond of those that saying down the side. I just didn't really have any use for it, so that was when I just cut it down, and that was when I decided I'd make it 8.5 by 11. I was going to mount it onto another piece of, oh no, this is where I cut it down, sorry. I was going to mount it onto another piece of pattern paper and still make it 12 by 12, but then made the decision to go 8.5 by 11. So I did grab some tissue paper from my stash, and I am bringing that branding strip. I don't think it was a branding strip, I think it was part of the pattern paper that I cut off the bottom, and I'm just gonna notch the end off the side to make it a banner kind of end on one side. And I did play around with some of the embellishments a bit here. That big chipboard piece ends up going because it's just ends up being too large for the 8.5 by 11 size. So I did grab a bit of washi from the embellishment pack, and just trying it out at the moment along with some embellishments. I do end up tearing it down, and you'll see that process in a bit. Just putting things on, taking them off, and seeing what I like on the layout and what I don't. I did grab some mist from the mixed media kit we got for April, and do some green splattering on all pieces of the pattern paper that I use, just to bring some more green in. And I do bring some gold in because I do have a gold title on my layout, and we'll get to that in a bit. The gold is a Color Blast mist that we got a few kits back. Can't remember how long back it was. Now that piece of packaging is glossy, so it does take a little bit longer to dry, and when I was doing the gold I was a bit impatient and it rubbed off, but I end up reapplying, so that's all good. So just splattering away and now I'm going to work on my titles. So we got the chipboard alpha in the main kit, and I'm just using my Versamark ink and some gold embossing powder to turn them gold. Now the first embossing powder I used came out quite dark. It was a darker gold than I wanted, so I did go over it again and used Zing Gold Glitter embossing powder, and that gave me the gold that I wanted. So while I had all my embossing stuff out, I thought I would emboss a few of the wood veneer. Some of it was from the main kit, some of it was from the Project Life kit, and I'm just going to turn it all gold. I do a few pieces where I only partially emboss it, so I'm masking off part of the wood veneer with some washi tape, and we'll grab my Versamark ink and ink that up and just emboss that part of the wood veneer. So now I've come back in because I've embossed the title and some of the embellishments gold. I thought I'd bring in that gold, and this is where I brought in the Color Blast gold spray, and I'm going to sprinkle a lot of gold all over the papers that I'm going to use. So there's no special technique or anything here, it's just dipping the applicator into the bottle and just tapping with my finger to get some splatters. Sometimes I put the applicator straight to the page like I am there to get some larger drips, or larger splatters, sorry, and I'm just going to continue doing that. Okay, so ready to start putting this layout together, and I'm just going to layer my photo on top of a few layers of tissue paper and bring in that strip that I cut off the bottom of the pattern paper along with some of the washi that I tear. I did bring in that chipboard shape, chipboard word thing that's on the thing that's on the layout, but it was just too big, so I did swap it out for another piece of ephemera. So just sticking things down now and just getting things where I like it. So now I've swapped out that large chipboard shape for that smaller ephemera piece, and I liked it better because this layout was about his first day at high school, and he was nervous. He was excited to go, but he didn't want to. It was a big thing for him. So I did use some of the exclusive die cuts just above that ephemera piece. And I'm bringing in some of my stars that I embossed, some of the acrylic stars, and I did bring in some more ephemera up to the top left there and just tucked it under the pattern paper, and the puffy sticker that's on the bottom left that I'm going to tuck under, it says not cool, but I tuck it under so you can just read it as cool. So I'm just sticking everything down to the layout now. So that's pretty much it. I just stick everything down. I do pull out my date roller stamp as well as one of the word roller stamps that we got last year in a kit and do some stamping, but I think my camera cut that off. I do add some journaling strips that I printed from my computer, and I also grabbed the enamel dots from the embellishment pack, and I think it was the Project Life kit. I can't remember, but I grabbed both sheets of enamel dots and stick them on the page. So there will be stills at the end of the video, and I'm sorry if it sounds all over the place. I've got 2 kids homesick from school today and not feeling the best myself, but I do hope that you enjoyed the layout, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.